Many, many people want to DIY their divorce, and the hidden risks in doing that are as follows. One, you don't know what you don't know. That goes without saying. It would be as though I decided I wanted to fix my dryer and I DIY'd it by watching a YouTube video. I would be at a high risk of setting my house on fire if I did that. So think of that, if you will. That analogy works in the divorce context too. If you DIY your divorce and you YouTube it and you don't know what you don't know, you could set your house on fire when it's already on fire. So basically you're going to blow it up, and you're not even going to know that what you did is the thing that caused it, and you're just going to have to sit in the aftermath. So that's the big one. You don't know what the pitfalls are. You don't know the court process. It also, a big pitfall in DIY, a hidden risk, is that it is time consuming to do this stuff. You're still gonna have to pull together all these mandatory disclosure documents. It's already overwhelming enough when you've got a lawyer or her team leading you through that process, let alone you're stuck doing it by yourself. So those are the hidden risks. The other hidden risk is that you, if you're DIYing it, are left to your own devices. And if you already are in a contentious situation, it's just going to get more contentious. When you work with a really skilled legal team to navigate through this process, you have a buffer of sorts. You have a cheerleader who's in your corner, who's advocating for you. When you are doing this yourself, one-on-one with your spouse, they're not advocating for you. You are. And whatever the dynamic is that came into play that got you to be at the courthouse steps with seeking a divorce in the first place is going to be on steroids. Meaning, all of your conversations, not all, but many of your conversations are likely to play right into that dynamic. What I mean by that is, if you were the one that was the people pleaser that gave in all the time, you're probably going to give in on things that you shouldn't, or you're going to waive rights to which you're entitled. If you're the bully, you might tend to be more of a bully in this situation. And those are things that you've got to know about yourself. Is that who you want to be? Is that who you want your kids to remember? If you've got a good attorney, they're going to help you check yourself at the door and make sure that we have reasonable expectations and that we're behaving in a respectful manner, so we're proud of ourselves on the other side of this. DIY divorces, I haven't seen very many where I would say that the individuals involved in them are proud of their conduct during the course of it. So another risk of DIYing your divorce is the likelihood that you might not know where all of your accounts are, what the assets are that you have. And let's say you put together your own equitable distribution worksheet and you leave something off, or she leaves something off, and you're stuck with this thing and you don't even know that something got missed, and you're stuck analyzing all of that account information on your own, and you're not going to see that the paper trail went to this account that isn't included in the equitable distribution schedule, and therefore whoever's name it's in got left off and you're out of luck. So you can really hurt yourself financially if you DIY this yourself. Divorce lawyers help with the details of your divorce in the following way. One, they walk you through all of the legal procedures that are involved. So they know the nuances of what that rule of procedure means and why. They know already that massive statute that governs divorces and best interests of the children and alimony and child support, those statutes, they know what those words mean because they've seen it before and they've heard the court interpret it over and over and over again. And you're going to look at it and assume it means one thing, but the divorce lawyers know the details of what those words mean in front of not only the court, but sometimes that particular judge. we know this particular judge ruled on this issue this way involving that statute because he read it or she read it this way and applied it in your same circumstances. So you're going to have some legal details that your lawyers are just going to know because they're lawyers. The other details that they can help you with is to really think through all of the things that you don't know. So walking through what are the stumbling blocks that often happen in a parenting plan? What are some tools that you can use to strategically negotiate, for example, lump sum alimony of some kind? Or how do we get to a compromise on those financial issues? So they will be able to look at that spreadsheet of assets and liabilities, your equitable distribution schedule, and take a hard look at where does it make sense to give a little and where does it make sense to ask for a little more. How can a divorce lawyer save you money? Okay, let's be real. Divorce is expensive. That's a given, right? We all hear that. We know it. Somehow we know it in our hearts to be true. And yet, let's define expensive. Because let me just tell you this story. So marriage number one, I was very young, in my 20s. I was married to a lawyer. I was miserable. The time I spent in that marriage was expensive. And what was really expensive is that I met with a lawyer. It was the lawyer that all the lawyers in his law firm were using to make sure that their wives didn't get anything. So I hired him first. Then he presented me with a let's screw your husband plan, and I couldn't stomach it. So I fired him. And then I was talked into going without counsel entirely, met with the judge at the final hearing with a marital settlement agreement that was drafted by said husband, lawyer, and we looked at the judge in the face and she said, "Do you know that you can have a lawyer?" And I said, "I do." I was 26. And she said, "Are you sure you want to agree to this?" And I said, "Yes." You know why? I just wanted out. Guess what? That was an expensive mistake. It was not a mistake, I don't think, to get rid of and end my relationship with an attorney who didn't stand for my values and wasn't going to show up the way I wanted to with integrity in the divorce process. However, it was a huge mistake not to have counsel at that meeting. What happened right after that? We're divorced. We're walking out of the courthouse, and let's just say said now ex-husband presented me with a real estate offer for our marital home where he had cut me out of the deal, and yet I still needed to sign because I was on the deed. So let's just say that didn't happen. Didn't sign it that day, signed it ultimately. But had I had counsel, I would have not had to experience this moment of crisis on the courthouse steps right after being pronounced divorced. If you're thinking about DIY divorce, but you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm second guessing myself and I should at least explore this concept of an attorney, give Brava Law a call. We would be happy to talk to you.